Up we got Zhantoro TASHIEV of Kyrgyzstan in with Taiga IMANAGA of Japan. I saw TASHIEV in the World Youth Championships in Poland earlier this year. He got a bronze, lost to Bozoboy Matt Yakubov of Ukraine in the semi-finals. Good fight. Matt Yakubov he's a bruiser, aggressive front foot fighter. Just had a bit too much for TASHIEV, who's won his national championship this year as well. So he's in good form. IMANAGA of Japan has been to Asian Youth Championships and World Youth Championships as well, and the World Juniors. That's all a little while ago now. Maybe hasn't really kicked on in the seniors in the way that he would have hoped to. TASHIEV, 19 years old. IMANAGA, 22. That's TASHIEV. In the red and the blue there, IMANAGA. Sergei Zhurkin of Russia. So IMANAGA and TASHIEV, both southpaws. Japanese fighter in blue, Kyrgyzstan fighter in red. Nice solid jab there from IMANAGA early on, and finds it again, just pulls onto the back foot there and pops that jab down the middle. TASHIEV is the shorter of the two, has got the disadvantage in terms of reach. He needs to get in a little bit tighter, a little bit closer. IMANAGA needs to keep popping that jab, keep just pumping that jab out. TASHIEV will look to back him up. Leads off with a hook there, TASHIEV, and IMANAGA was able to avoid that one. Jab and then just uppercut off the back of the jab from IMANAGA. And the tempo for this has been set really. TASHIEV will look to come forward, walk IMANAGA down. He's got to try and move his head on the way in. Get off the punching line so he doesn't just eat that jab all the time. There it comes again from IMANAGA, who's got to keep using it. He's just creeping in there, creeping in TASHIEV, and there comes the jab, and he can't neglect it at any stage, because if he does, then TASHIEV will be right on top of him. Good foot movement from IMANAGA, just pivoting around that front foot, just slides off around the back of TASHIEV. Referee just having a quick chat with TASHIEV about heads there. He is slightly the shorter of the two. Does drop his height a bit, flexes those knees, and might come in with the head a little bit low at times. Referee having a quick chat with him there about punching around the back. Last thing you want is a point deduction in these three-round fights. It can be absolutely fatal. Again, just throwing that jab there, IMANAGA. Good head movement from him there too, as the right hand comes in from TASHIEV, who tries to keep his head on the move. Just bobbing and weaving as he gets onto the front foot. He's thrown plenty, TASHIEV, in this opening round. I don't recall him landing all that much. Left hand there from IMANAGA. But he's very much on the front foot. Nice right hand there from IMANAGA as TASHIEV was looking to open out, and he just dipped to the right through that right. I made that a good round for the fighter in the blue corner. As I said, just pumping out that jab, using that jab. TASHIEV coming to him, and he seemed happy with that. IMANAGA, 10 lines across the board there for him, which makes sense. TASHIEV has got to close that distance just a little bit more cleverly, really. Keep that head on the move. You see him bobbing, weaving from side to side, but generally he's doing it when he's out of distance. When he gets into range, often he stops. IMANAGA, he's comfortable on the back foot. He's comfortable enough when he's feeling those ropes on his back, on the back of his calf. Throws that jab, and then every now and again just times that right hand and then moves off to his right. And having won that opening round there, IMANAGA, he doesn't really need to change a thing. He will know that TASHIEV will have to come to him even more now. Which you would imagine will suit him. TASHIEV's got to find a way of doing it. Good jab, without getting caught by the jab, on his way in constantly. There's that right hand from IMANAGA, and there's that good footwork. Turns away, turns his man on the ropes, finds that wide open space of the ring. Good left hand on the inside there from TASHIEV. When he does get into distance, he's got to make sure he's got just enough room. There's that lead right hand again, though, from IMANAGA. He's so eager, TASHIEV, when he gets there. He can tend to strangle his punches a bit. It is good stuff, though, from the Japanese fighter. And there you see, he just takes his feet back out, left to the body. Just keeps that distance. And then when TASHIEV closes in on him, like he did there, he slips underneath the left hand, gets a hold of him, turns him in the corner, and all of a sudden he's out of any potential trouble. Left to the body, solid left to the body. Left hand upstairs there from IMANAGA, midway through round two. This has been a good demonstration so far from IMANAGA of how you deal with a fighter who does this, a front foot fighter, an aggressive fighter, someone who looks to walk you down, get into range and let their hands go. There's that jab again, lovely jab, just snaps it up. Sometimes it lands really solid, other times not so much, but it still has that impact because it just takes TASHIEV off balance as he's trying to attack. He then has to start again. Into the final minute. TASHIEV got up close there, but that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. He was a bit too close. Didn't really have room for that body work, and as he closes in there, just sinking into the neutral corner, IMANAGA gives him one off the back foot, left hand straight down the middle. That was a good left hand though there from TASHIEV, that got through. What he's really relying on here, TASHIEV, with this kind of style is his opponent tiring. Him just bringing the heat and bringing the heat. And at some point his opponent will tire. That output with the jab from IMANAGA in this case would drop. He would stop firing out that lead hand. TASHIEV would be able to get on top of him. The feet would slow down. And just signs of that happening towards the end of the round there maybe. TASHIEV finished quite strongly in the final 30 seconds, but prior to that it was IMANAGA who again just dominated proceedings. So you would imagine he'll have a 2-point lead with all 5 of the judges. Well, he's got a 10-8 there, IMANAGA, with the Swedish judge in that second round. It's quite generous, I think. But clear water between him and TASHIEV going into the third round. He's won both of those 2 rounds. Just signs, as I said, in the final 30 seconds of the round that TASHIEV's pressure fighting might be just beginning to pay off, but as I said, what he is kind of relying on, the way he goes about things, is that his work rate will get to his opponent will slow down. But against someone like IMANAGA, who's got that one tool that you really need against a come forward fighter, which is a good jab, that just hasn't happened. Not yet, anyway. Left to the body there from IMANAGA. There's that jab again. Little left hand. Just sneaks through. And away he goes. TASHIEV, you cannot fault the industry here. And this approach will prove to be extremely troublesome for a lot of fighters. If you don't quite have the technique and the footwork that IMANAGA has got, then TASHIEV is going to be a problem. Sailing a bit close to the wind there, TASHIEV, just pushing IMANAGA into the ropes, pushing his head back a little bit. The referee though having a word with IMANAGA there, midway through round 3. Good strong left hand from TASHIEV, whose work rate has never dipped. You get the impression he could probably do this for 10 rounds, but these are 3-round fights. Just getting on top of IMANAGA a little bit there, but IMANAGA is a bit stronger than he maybe looks. He's got quite a slender kind of waist on him, but it does taper out to a pretty solid set of shoulders. The height of him, I think, is a bit deceptive in terms of his upper body strength. Because he's tall, it's easy to think that maybe he isn't that strong, particularly when you're up against a kind of more bull-like fighter like TASHIEV. But actually, when they've grappled in close, he's held his own.
Please welcome into the red corner, the boxer from Estonia,
Bell goes. Good performance there from IMANAGA. Like the look of him. And he scored a pretty comfortable victory there against TASHIEV. I say comfortable in terms of the scores, but there's nothing comfortable about fighting him because he comes for you every second of every round.
And now be ready to greet his opponent in the blue corner of the ring. From Spain, Adrian Creus.
Ring B battle 49 comes to an end with your judges ruling in favor of your winner by points, declared by unanimous decision. To the blue corner, from Japan, Taiga.
So IMANAGA gets it, as we expected that he would, and he will go through to face an Uzbek fighter, Tursunov, in the next round. And 4 of the judges there have given that final round to TASHIEV. I think on work rate, really. I don't think I'd have given him that final round myself. I thought IMANAGA probably still did the cleaner work, but he just kept going and going and going and going, and I can see how they got there. But he had that lead going into the final round there, IMANAGA, and a deserved winner.